Oh, it's so stormy out. So stormy. Look, that chair don't even want to stay up. Oh no. It's raining sideways. Oh no. Hey guys, Aramis555 here, just coming to you with an updated DDD deck profile. No all has changed. I kind of just wanted to do a deck profile for you guys again. This will be a quicker one, but I am actually building the Magician Pendulum deck, like a budget build with like the Clown Engine and stuff, and it's been tested, excuse me, surprisingly really good. So I will have that guy, or that deck profile for you guys, most likely around this time next week. I will have an Ignite deck profile for you guys next week as well from Brendan, so keep an eye out for that. So let's get this up to, say, 30 likes. I'm sure this will get a lot of views again. And yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to rip through things. Not a lot has changed. I've just been kind of testing things out, but so triple Leonidas still. That's still the same. I see a lot of people who have been playing this saying this card clogs. So I'm kind of trying something out to deal with that, because I still think this card's amazing just for the fact that like you'd special it from your hand and you will essentially stop yourself from getting burn damage. That's really what he's there for. Like as a beater, he's not that important, but I mean he's also good because he's a 26 or sorry level 7, so you can do rank 7 plays with him. Triple Ragnarok, you gotta play 3. Triple Kepler. Best card in the deck. You want to get to this guy as soon as possible. That's one thing I've really noticed about this deck, is if you don't get to Kepler, you lose. So I've been trying like alternatives to get to him faster, and I think the way I have it's probably the best way. I'm still playing the one Galilei. I tried cutting it out, but I just realized like as a one-off, this card is just super good. You can also search it out off of Odd Eyes again, so I think that's really good. And I've never used it as a Pendulum 1, but I think it's just like it's super necessary for the fact that it gives you something to banish from the graveyard off, Necro Slime that isn't actually necessary. 2 Berfomet. Berfomet's just there mainly for the fact that obviously you can make ranks 8 and rank 4 plays into Wave King or into Kali Yuga. 1, 2, 3 Swirl Slime. That's also a staple, I think, at 3. I would never play less than that. 2 Necro Slime. I still see a lot of people trying to play 3. I don't think you need 3. I think 2 is like perfect, because generally you're going to make one of your darks off of Swirl Slime. So really, like, you don't want to make these dead, otherwise they're just sitting there and they're not doing anything. I'm still playing the One Eyes. I actually took this out. I was testing out this card here, Stygian Security. He's level 1 tuner, and when he's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, special summon one level 1 fiend type monster from your deck. So that's pretty cool, because like I kind of like it better than Odd Eyes in the sense that you can like set it, your opponent doesn't know what you're playing, and they crash into it, it dies, you special a Kepler in defense, get a search, and next turn the Keplers on the board unless they have like a big field. So this kind of gives you a little more defense. It's also level 1 tuner, which is kind of nice. But the problem I have with it is like if they don't kill us by battle, it essentially puts me in a position where I'm still behind a turn. So this will get me to Kepler right away at the end of my turn, and then next turn I can actually just summon the Kepler and start going. So next up, I'm also playing still the 2 Maxx. I was actually playing 3. I love Maxx, but the problem I noticed with it is that once again it relies on your opponent to do something. Sorry if you guys can hear the rain in the background there; it's brutal. It relies your opponent to do something, and if you draw like 2 Maxx, it kind of sucks, because especially if you're playing like a Pendulum deck, because they don't always have to special summon. And since Pendulum summoning is inherent, essentially what they can do is just not Pendulum summon at all. So you end up going -1 off the Maxx. So I still think Maxx is amazing, but I think 2 is the better number. 3 is just cloggy. So that's it for the monsters. 20 monsters. Spells. Triple Gate. Still gotta play that. Like, best card in the deck. Generally what the play is like you open this, you play this, search Kepler, summon Kepler, search out Witch. I'm just playing 1 Swamp King. I've been kind of going back and forth between 1 and 2, but I just kind of realized that, like, the only thing this is really good for is, like, it speeds up your plays into making Dark faster. But really, it's just there for making this guy, and a lot of the times, like, they're not going to pop your Swamp King because it's not really the threat card. The threat cards are going to be your Gate and your Witch, because they're constantly gaining you advantage, and Witch is picking stuff off their field, so they'll get rid of those before they ever get rid of Swamp King. I'm playing triple Upstart Goblin. These are all my draw cards. I'm playing 6 draw cards. I think you have to play this in this deck just mainly for the reason that like deck thinning is like really important in this deck because you need to get to Kepler. One thing I was thinking about trying is actually playing Chicken Game in here. I think I've mentioned that before, but I just don't like the idea of the Chicken Game staying on the board and my opponent plussing off of it, so I just decided against it. So I'm playing 2 Sacred Sword of 7 stars. I kind of tested this a lot before, and I wasn't really sure I liked it because I didn't like the idea of banishing my Dark, because you can, you know, banish this and then draw 2 if you need to. Really what it's here for is just banishing the Leonidas. Now, the thing that I realized that makes this actually pretty decent is with Leonidas, since he specials from your hand, kind of like Sage Koya when you take burn damage, you can always Sacred Sword of 7 stars in like main phase 2, or even in main phase 1 after you've special summoned this. So like you'll take the burn damage, you special this, you gain the burn damage back, you take no further burn damage, and then you can play a Sacred Sword, banish this from the field, draw 2 cards, and keep your plays going. Or you can just like enter your battle phase, run over a monster they have that's causing you problems, and then main phase 2 you can Sacred Sword it because you don't really need this anymore, and then draw 2 cards. So that's really good, and I just find like you need to, like, sometimes I've lost like games with this deck before because you get like brick hands where you open like, you know, 2 Leonidas and like a Ragnarok, and you like can't get your plays moving. So like if you open a 7 stars now with like one of the Leonidases, because I was talking to Dave about this, DDD God, go look him up on YouTube. I was talking to Dave about this, but we were basically just saying that like Leonidas, like as amazing as it is, it does brick your hands a little bit, and this I think helps out with that. Now a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, why wouldn't you play Trade-In? Because obviously it's better because you're putting your Ragnarok in the graveyard and you don't have to banish Leonidas. The thing, I mean, this is also really good because like with this whole engine, if you open Sacred Sword and Gate, you can always just like search out. I'm sorry, I bumped that there. You can always like search out the Leonidas, and then your Sacred Sword is always live. So this card's never actually dead, which I really like. And I mean, you can do that with Ragnarok as well, but the problem I have with that is that with Ragnarok, it's like the trade-in thing, like it's good, but I really only have 3 targets for trade-in. With this card, because of Berfomet, I can change anything to 7. I mean, you could argue you could change anything to 8 with Berfomet as well. But the problem with that is that trade-in only discards from the hand. This card is the fielder hand. I think it just makes it a lot more versatile in that sense. And then once again, you can always like banish a Dark if you don't need it anymore, you know, kind of thing. That's kind of a last ditch effort. But really, these are just here for deck thinning. You probably are only ever going to see 1 a game, but if you do see 2, it's still not a big deal. Like, you really only need 1 Leonidas floating. Like, if you look at a lot of the OCG builds that used to top, a lot of them only played 1 Leonidas. We're just playing 3 right now, obviously, because we have, you know, that space to fill. So I think this card's really good. And I am also still playing the one Allure of Darkness. So that's like 3 potential banish cards. So a lot of people might be like, oh, why would you don't want to banish your stuff once again? If you want to, like if you can find room, you could totally play Burial from Different Dimension in here. I actually really like that card in testing. I thought it was really good. And I mean, you're potentially excuse me, you're potentially going to make it so it's always live, because you're putting like slimes back in your graveyard, and you're probably going to be putting back like Leonidas and stuff you banished off Sacred Sword. So excuse me, I mean, like that's not really ever going to be a problem. And I think that Burial's a better card than Foolish. Like I keep trying to play Foolish in here. Dave keeps telling me to play it, but I just don't like it. Like I find it's kind of unnecessary. And the last spell I'm playing is 1 for 1. One card I do want to mention that I was testing was actually Wavering Eyes. This card's really good, but the problem I had with it is that like this gets you to your Kepler, which is great. But the issue I had with it is that it requires you having 2 other cards in your hand to actually make it good. So you either have to open like double Leonidas and Wavering Eyes, or you have to open like a Leonidas and a Ragnarok, and then Wavering Eyes them both. They go to the extra deck and you search out your Kepler, but at that point you're actually going -1 because the Kepler is going to grab you a gate, and then the gate is going to grab you another card, but you're still using 3 cards to replace them with 3. But in order to use that, like the Witch or something, you're going to need another card in your hand. You just pretty much blew your whole hand just to get a Kepler, so I don't really like that play. Plus, you're putting these guys in the extra deck, and I really don't like Pendulum summoning in this deck unless you absolutely need to. So, I mean, I don't know. I think this is more of a side deck card, like if you're playing against the Magician Pendulum deck, which I love. I main deck this in the Magician Pendulum deck. It's insane. It's really good against that. It's good against the mirror match and stuff, too. So, I mean, like, definitely a really good side deck card. Like, I'd side deck 3 of these for sure. Sorry, it's not focusing there. There we go. Really good side deck card for sure, but I think honestly, overall, I wouldn't main deck it. I just feel like, unless you're going into a big tournament, it might be worth main decking, but I like to make my deck consistent for every matchup, and then your side deck is that part of your deck that makes it so you're playing better against other decks. So that's it for the spells. I think it's 11, I'm pretty sure. On to the traps. I'm still playing Triple Witch. I think this is the best trap in the deck. I see a lot of people playing like 1 or 2 of this. Once again, I think you're doing it wrong. This card can pitch dead contracts from your hand. It's your Foolish Burial. It basically dumps everything to the graveyard that you need in the graveyard. It sets up your plays. And this pops Pendulum Scales. I took out the MSTs as well just because I felt like they were kind of redundant. I am still playing 1 errors as well. I was actually trying 2 errors, but I just found they clogged. Like, if you open up double errors, it's just so bad, especially if you're playing against something like Magicians that don't even really run traps. It was just terrible. So I think the 1 errors is just really good. It's kind of like Swamp King, where you just search it when you need it if you're playing against a trap deck. And if you're playing against something that doesn't play traps, you can just search it out early on with a Kepler when you summon it later on, and you can just pitch it off a Witch because you know it's just like going to be useless. So I think that's really the best contract ratio for the traps. I did actually put Breakthrough Skill back in. I really like this card. I kind of missed it when I wasn't playing it because I realized like I didn't really have any effect negation, and that's why originally I was playing the Solemn Scolding, was to make up for that. I feel like this card's still really good. People are starting to play Valor again because it's actually good against quite a few decks right now. I mean, it's not good against Magus Specters at all, but you can always wait for like an XYZ play and then use the Breakthrough Skill. I don't know, I feel like this deck needs effect negation, and so far adding these back in, I've been really happy with it, so I probably won't take those out again. I keep noticing there's cards I'm taking out and putting back in, so I think those are the cards that generally I should stick with. And then I'm playing the 1 Vanity still, the 1 Bottomless, and the 1 Warning. I think those are all pretty much like staples. Bottomless is just like super underrated right now. So that is the main deck, 40 cards. I'll just quickly go through the extra deck here because it's pretty much still the same. Triple Dark, double. I have the Wave Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. That's like the longest name ever. So that's it for fusions. We're playing the 1 Kali Yuga still, 1 Felgran, Big Eye, Draco Sack. I would be playing the Red Eyes XYZ if I had it, but I don't. Marksman King Tal. You could totally play 2 of these as well. I only have 1. Double Wave King Caesar, and Slacker Magician. I also want to say quickly before I end the video that when we get Bosch, I think it's Bosch, whatever the next set is, we are getting that Sylvan Rank 1 import. Now that card is generic, so I would actually really recommend playing it in this deck, because you can just detach a material off it, you mill the top card of your deck. If it's a monster, it stays in the graveyard. That's great, because everything in this deck is good in the graveyard, we don't care. And if it's a spell or trap, you add it to your hand. So that's really, really good. Like, it's going to be adding, you know, you're potentially like any of your trap cards to your hand that you might need. It's going to be adding like any of your spell cards. You know, you add an Upstart, you go +1. You can add a Gate if you need it, that kind of thing. So it's really, really good. And I think Slacker is just kind of there just to, you know, make sure the Keplers hit the graveyard. But other than that, like, yeah, the Sylvan XYZ is much better. So that's the deck, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let's get this up to 30 likes, and I will have a Ignite deck profile for you guys. And then after the Ignite deck profile, like I said, I will have the Magician Pendulum Clown deck, whatever you want to call it. Odd Eyes Magician Pendulum Clowns. I don't know what it is. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.